get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell.
What's going on, everybody? Surprise stream. Wanted to get on here tonight. Wanted to test out a new format here. Also wanted to submit my Fangoria Chainsaw Awards ballot. And to be honest, there's a lot of films and stuff from the past year that I just didn't see or not aware of. I did fill out a ballot the other day, and I ended up just kind of skipping a lot of the categories because it's a bunch of shit I hadn't done before. So that's why I wanted to come on here tonight. I figure I'm going to fill the thing out anyway. I want to test out this new little format here, and I figure why not do it on here and have you guys help me. If there's movies you've seen or your opinions, let me know if it's something I haven't seen. So I need you guys' help to help me fill out this ballot tonight. But how's everybody doing out there? I know it's a spur of the moment or sperm of the moment, as they say. A little late on a Wednesday night, but what the hell? I wanted to get this ballot done, and mostly for the biggest reason why. Is Brandon Salisbury's documentary, George A. Romero's Resident Evil, is actually nominated this year for Best Documentary. So we definitely want to go and support Brandon. You can actually go and fill out your own ballot. Put a link down in the comments below. It's fangoria.com/vote. So you can go fill out your ballot and, get it out there. Have your voice be heard. If you don't vote, you can't complain, I guess. Like I said, I've already voted once, but we're going to do it again tonight. It's also the anniversary of George's passing. Was today, the July the 16th. 8 years already since George passed. I don't know, just kind of had the urge to hop on here, just kind of do my thing, talk to you guys for a little bit, and just talk and do what we can for George's legacy going forward. I think the best way we can do that is to go and help a documentary based off of him win this year's, which I don't know much about the Chainsaw Awards. I'm not. I think it wasn't the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards where Tarantino awarded, or not Tarantino. He presented the award for I forget what they called, the Mastermind Award to George back in 2000. Gosh, what was it? 8, 9, somewhere around there. It was right around when Survival was coming out, I'm pretty sure. But I think that was the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I don't keep up with it. I don't really pay too much attention to it. But this year, with Brandon's documentary in the running for this documentary, definitely want to fill out a ballot this year. And I encourage all of you guys to do it as well. Like I said, the link is down in the description box below. It's fangoria.com/vote. And you can make your voice better. And like I said, I need you guys' help tonight. So, but yeah, so 8 years since George's passing. I remember exactly where I was the night that I found out. It's just weird. It's funny because 8 years. A lot of the times when you look at an anniversary, you look back on something, especially when you have kids. Like when I think of my daughters being 4 already, going on 5, it blows my mind because it's gone by so fast. But with George's passing 8 years ago, it seems like another lifetime ago almost for me. I don't know why, but it seems like so long ago. Like I've gone through so many changes and done so many things in between then that it just seems like so long ago. So 8 years, I mean, it's it is kind of a long time ago, but really in the grand scheme of things, it was not too far ago. Too long ago. Far ago. The next film from the fucking Coen brothers. Far ago. But yeah, having a little scotch tonight in honor of Romero, because I always heard George was a scotch drinker. That was always what I heard. He was a fan of the Johnny Walker Blue Label. Black Label, I think, but Blue Label. If you can get the Blue Label, go for it. I like scotch. I'm a bit of a scotch drinker. Um, so yeah, it's just crazy. There's been so many changes, and so much has gone on, and there's so much that happens now. Um, like the community and Living Dead weekend, I feel like George was here to see it all, and and kind of realize what kind of effect he's had on so many people and so many relationships. It's like I did a post on my community page last night before I went to bed. It was a little after midnight, and I just talked about all the friendships and relationships that I've built and kind of discovered through George and our common love of George's films. And that's like, to me, that's the most important part. Like his films inspired me and just had an effect on me and really shaped the way that I think about life and the way that I look at life. Um, it's sad, I'm a bit of a pessimist a lot of the times, and I feel like I get a little bit of that from George and growing up on his films and kind of understanding, what he was trying to say with, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Crazies, like all of his films. Like, I kind of get a little bit of that because, I mean, George was a bit of a pessimist, you know. Um, so he, just shaped the way I think, look at life, look at the world. Um, but, like I said, outside of, like, more so than any of that, it's the little community that he's created from people all over the world. Like when I come on here and do this, and you see, people in the chat, and getting to meet all these people, and realizing, like, oh, there is a place that we can all come together and talk about this. I bet George, like I've said before, if George knew that somebody would, like, I don't even know if he was really that aware of YouTube, which I guess he was, Diary of the Dead. But if he was aware of, like, oh, there's a guy that does a YouTube channel dedicated to pretty much only me and my work, like, what he'd be like, well, what is wrong with him? He'd probably say, like, well, why doesn't he do a Brian De Palma channel or something? Or those good directors. He always used to say that. He's like, oh, me? Like, what about Brian De Palma? I guess George was a huge De Palma fan. Hey, Justin, what's going on, man? Justin Moreno, good to see you, man. J and B, no, I got a little of the Johnny Walker Red Label going on tonight. Just that kind of mood, just kind of, it's late, it's a little, we're sitting here, and we got the Fiddler's Green behind us. So, and we're going to fill out this ballot and take a look. I've seen quite a few movies this past year, but I'm definitely going to need you guys' input on some of these. But yeah, just with everything, I don't know, it's just been it's always a weird day on this anniversary. The day we lost George, and I don't know, it's just always kind of a somber day, but it's so cool and so nice to see. The one good thing about these dates, like whether it's his birthday or whether it's today, it's always good to see people's tributes to him on social media, Facebook, you guys in the community section, with your comments, and you guys in the chat. That is a nice part of it, because I mean, a lot of us, we celebrate Romero all year long, but it's always nice when certain people will speak up or whatever, and kind of give their thoughts and their memories of George and what his work meant to them. But yeah, I don't know, just it's always this day. I kind of wanted to hop on here and kind of be amongst like-minded folks. Yeah, like I said, if you can get the black label, do the black label. But black label's good, but yeah, the red's not bad. It's a little salty. Got a little bit of a burn. The blue label, though, I did have a blue label one time. I was at a bar here locally in Newburgh, and it was like $20 a glass, but I was in the mood. I was like, I gotta try it. I gotta see what the fuck. Because just a bottle of it, same size as this, which this was $30, I think, or something like that. It's a little more expensive than the blue. Like a bottle of the blue is just freaking outrageous. It's like a couple $100 or something like that. So I had to know what that tasted like, and it's pretty nice. It's got a nice little mellow feeling to it. Liquid Cooler, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Yo, he says. Awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna bring up this ballot here, and I guess we'll fill this out and look, because like I said, I've seen a few of these movies. Like, there's a couple of categories that I could really um, actually have an answer for or opinion on. But like I said, the main reason I'm even bothering filling out this ballot is Brandon's documentary. So, like I said, highly encourage you guys to head on over and do the same and submit your ballot, because how cool would it be in the year 2025, 8 years after his passing, a documentary based on George Romero wins the Fangoria Chainsaw Award for Best Documentary in 2025. How cool would that be? Um, Yeah, that's right, Justin. Yeah, the blue label is right around 240 bucks. Yeah, which is crazy. I don't know if it's worth it, but I mean, a glass every now and then, a $20 glass is stretching it. But when you consider like most shit now is expensive at bars, like any mixed drink or anything like that, it's like, yeah, I could have a Long Island iced tea, or I can just try this Johnny Walker Blue Label. I was like, yeah, I'll go with the Blue Label. Um, Liquid Cooler says, watch Lucio Fulci's Zombie the other week. Love the atmosphere and the soundtrack. Yeah, love Fulci's Zombie. Um, that's one of those films that's just it's so weird, but it works on so many levels. I don't know. But speaking of Zombie, Lucio Fulci's Zombie, I think the next stream that I'm going to do this weekend, I'm brainstorming it in my head. I'm trying to come up with an actual solid list for this, because it's stuff we talk about all the time, but really trying to narrow it down is driving me insane. But I'm thinking about doing my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. You know, non-Romero horror movies, just to get that, get that out of my head, because I've been trying to narrow it down lately, just thinking, because we've had that conversation I had in the Revival House guys on a couple days ago. It's funny I say last week, but a couple days ago, just talking about like Argento's films, whether Tenebrae versus Suspiria. I love both of them, and depending on my mood, I love Suspiria more or I love Tenebrae more. It just depends. So trying to figure out. But I was thinking today, I was like, even though I might appreciate and enjoy Tenebrae more, Suspiria might make my like top five favorite horror films of all time, just for what it means and like what it meant to me, and kind of the effect that it has on me. And it's one of those movies I can just sit down and watch anytime, and I watch it at least once a year. So I don't know, but I think that might be one of my next streams, is just top 10 favorite horror films, non Romero. Um, and Zombie would be probably on that list. I'd have to think about it, but pretty sure Zombie would be right up there. Um, it just says you sell at your store. Okay, Blue Label. How many people buy that? Like, what kind of clientele actually goes and drops that kind of dough on booze? I'd love to have that kind of money, but you know, it's what it is. Um, I mean, it's it's gonna be hard to narrow down, because if it's with Romero, you're picking between like 16 films, so it's like, okay, if I were doing my top 10 favorite Romero films, which is still a stream I haven't done actually, I haven't really listed or ranked Romero's films. Maybe I'd do that in two. I like doing lists. I've always liked doing lists. I have a book that my ex-girlfriend bought me for Christmas one year, and it was just a book of lists. And it would just be like, all right, list your favorite movies, list your favorite music, whatever. And I love coming up with fucking lists, man. Which I guess YouTube is the perfect platform to do. You constantly do lists, but um, yeah, the razor wire scene. I love that scene because it makes no sense whatsoever, but it works and it's awesome. Like, why is there a room full of razor wire? Just there randomly. It makes no sense, but I love it. Um, Mainly bars and restaurants, the expensive ones. Yeah, I've seen it in liquor stores before, but like, you know, it's I don't know. I could never pull the trigger on something like that, but for a glass, what's up, Matt? Matt Landrum over at Drone of the Dead. Matt just actually dropped a new video today. I was actually trying to post a link to it in my community section. just trying to share it, and it wasn't working. So I'm gonna have to go back and share it. But go check them out. Check it out. Drone of the Dead. Matt was here recently in down in Fort Myers for vacation and actually visited a lot of the filming locations for Day of the Dead, and got some amazing footage like amazing drone footage of all these locations. And he used music from Time 1019, which is some of the best like Romero like Goblin covers, John Harrison. He just did recently a Paul McCullough cover from Night of the Living Dead 90, and it actually made it sound pretty good. Because you guys know how much I love that fucking Paul McCullough soundtrack. But go check it out. It's a fantastic video. It's really, really cool. I've never been down there, so I would love to get down there at some point and visit all those locations, because a lot of those spots look fairly similar to the way they did back in '85. So I mean, it's a perfect location spot, because a lot of the buildings and stuff downtown and all that look pretty much, spot on as they did in '85. Um, but yeah, check that out. Good to see you, Matt. What was your question here? What were you saying? No top 10 Romero ranking yet? That's probably, yeah, I don't think I've done that. I've done like top 10 zombies, top 10, and this is early, like when I first started the channel, like top 10 zombies, top 10 performances. But I've never actually just sat down and done a top 10 Romero film, just period in general. I just recently did the Romero scenes, which was fucking impossible because I left out so many. Like, even after the fact, I thought back, I was like, damn, how did I forget that? But actually narrowing down my favorite top 10 films of his, if I did top five, it'd be pretty obvious. But yeah, like, top 10 Romero films, I definitely need to do that too. I need to make a list of all the, I need to make a list of all the list shows that I need to do, the top 10 shows. Um, Justin says The Beyond is up there for me. I like The Beyond. I've just never been crazy about it. I love Zombie, love City of the Living Dead. I like House by the Cemetery. Okay, like it's fine. Um, and The Beyond, I would say it's right. I would put The Beyond a little bit ahead of House by the Cemetery, I guess. But City of the Living Dead definitely would be ahead of The Beyond for me. There'd be quite a few Fulci films that would be ahead of The Beyond for me, actually. Even like New York Ripper. Like, I love just the grittiness and just the mean spiritedness of that fucking movie. I don't know. I'd probably have that ahead of The Beyond. Don't Torture a Duckling would definitely be ahead of The Beyond, I think. I don't know. It's just the Beyond. It's got some great visuals and great soundtrack, but just something about that movie just never captured my imagination quite the same way that a lot of his other stuff has. I don't know. Um, Justin says, I've heard it's mid at best. Friends say it doesn't taste like much. Yeah, I mean it's very, very smooth. If you're talking about the blue label, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. There's the man, Mr. Brandon Salisbury. Says good evening. That thumbnail got my attention. Yeah, like I said when I started, I was gonna fill out this ballot anyway. I did one the other day, just to vote for you, and pretty much every other category I just skipped because I didn't give a fuck about it. Then I was thinking, I was like, man, like I would go back and just fill out another ballot, just for one to vote for your documentary again, and just to kind of see what was even nominated, because it was on like a smoke break. I just kind of went through until I found the documentaries category, and then I voted, and then fucking didn't think much of it. So I figured it'd be fun to kind of come on here and just, have you guys help me on some of these categories with some of the stuff I haven't seen, and we'll all fill out this ballot together, and hopefully get George another Fangoria Chainsaw Award. You might know this, Brandon. Was the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards? Was that the same award show where he was awarded the Mastermind Award by Quentin Tarantino back in 2009, 2010, I think. I think that's the same. It's the same award show, if I'm not mistaken. Buffalo Trace, I don't think so. If I have, it was probably just a shot because a buddy had it or something. Like at a fantasy football draft or something. Like, my buddy will usually bring like a bottle of nice whiskey. So unless it was that, I've never gone out of my way to. I'm usually just a Jack Daniels or a Johnny Walker guy if I'm drinking the booze. Yeah, New York Ripper. That's a fun one. Matt says the Beyond is great, but you can tell there really wasn't a script. Yeah, that's kind of my problem with it. Like I said, the visuals are fantastic. The soundtrack is great, but man, it's kind of hard to fucking follow if you're trying to make any kind of sense out of it. Um, so the dream logic is cool, but some of the film is disjointed. Yeah, yeah, it's very discombobulating for me. Um, yeah, I agree with this too, Justin. The spider scene is cool, but it goes on too long. Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. Like it's, it lingers on it for a little bit too long for me, and it's just a little. It's just so crazy, but it's straight out of a nightmare. It is the stuff that nightmares are made of. Um, Matt says, and yeah, time 1019 is immensely talented. He was really cool to let me use some of his music. Yeah, dude, he's super cool and such a big fan. I think he's over in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I think he's Japanese, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, his stuff is awesome. If you guys want to check him, I think it's at Time 19 Vision is the name of the channel. I recommend. I've used some of his music before in the past, and yeah, definitely check it out. Some of the best covers, and not just covers, but just even like the visuals that he puts together to these covers, like little music videos and stuff. Those are fucking awesome to watch because it's always, I don't know. I love the way I just love the way his brain works and the way that he pieces some of the stuff together for the videos. Um, but yeah, check him out. Time 1019 Vision is the name of the channel, I believe. Justin says top three Fulci, City Limit Dead, Zombie, and The Beyond. I mean, that's solid. Um, Can't argue with any of those. Although I'm a huge Zombie 3 fan, which I know Fulci was always just kind of like, hey, I didn't direct that piece of shit. But I mean, it was quite a bit of Fulci. They just kind of brought in Bruno Mattei to spice it up a little. It's not a great film or anything, don't get me wrong. And, I'm just talking about disjointed shit films that make no sense, um, but it's fun. Like, I just enjoy it. Every time I watch it, like, I love, corny, shitty Italian zombie films. So, um, what can you say? Buffalo Trace from Kentucky. Okay. Well, hey, represent Kentucky then. Kentucky's known for a lot of their bourbons. Like there was a distillery from my hometown. Um, I can't think what the hell it's called now, but yeah, they do a lot of whiskeys and bourbons and shit. Which is, if you're in Kentucky, you're supposed to call it bourbon because I think it's Kentucky bourbon, Tennessee whiskey. So there's always like a thing about that. I didn't give a shit. I was just trying to get drunk. I'm like, whatever you got, give me a shot. Um, 35 bucks for a liter. I don't know if I've had that then. It sounds delicious for a liter. Who measures booze in liters? I've never done that. It's usually like a fifth or a pint or a half gallon or a handle a handle's worth is what they call it. Um, Justin says I like that Zombie 3 too. Yeah, yeah, I don't care. I'm shamelessly a fan of Zombie 3. Um, all right, let's get this ballot up. I need you guys to help me out on this because there's a lot I haven't seen. But from the ones that I have seen, I mean, I have some. There's not a lot that I liked, so I don't know what the hell I'll vote for. But we'll try to narrow it down. Um, so, like I said, you could fill out your ballot as well. You go to fangoria.com/vote. Let me see here. It should take you to this page, I believe, right before this, where you click vote. I think you'd figure it out. So let's see. Before you get started, please review the instructions below if they have the instructions. Like, take this very seriously. Number one, you do not have to vote in every category. You can select didn't watch, skip, which is what I did for pretty much every category when I cast my first ballot. Number two, one ballot per person, please. What can you do? Duplicate votes and invalid email addresses will be disqualified. Only humans are allowed to vote. Sorry, bots. Well, I guess I can't vote then. What the hell? Let's start. So yeah, the polls close July 20th, which is Sunday, I believe. So you have until Sunday to submit your submit your ballot. I was gonna say bracket, but it's not March. Um, let's see. So we'll get started. I got all that already set in there. We're just gonna do it under Alfa Romero because I already used my real name on the first ballot. And all right. So here we go. Best wide release movie. 28 years later, Final Destination Bloodlines, Longlegs, Sinners, The Substance, Bring Her Back, Heretic, Nosferatu, Strange Darling, and The Ugly Stepsister. So right off the bat, the only ones on here that I have actually seen are 28 years later, Longlegs, The Substance, Nosferatu, and Strange Darling. And out of all of these films, my favorite horror film of last year, or of the last year, I don't remember if it came out earlier this year or the year before, but if you guys haven't seen Strange Darling, what easily the best film I saw last year. It's so good, so well written. The pacing is fantastic. It keeps you guessing. The performances are fantastic. The dialogue is great. I love Strange Darling, and that would be easily my pick on here. 28 years later, to let you guys know, I wasn't a big fan of that. I was pretty disappointed in that one. I haven't seen Final Destination Bloodlines. I don't know if I did hear some okay stuff about that though. Like I knew a lot of people were not too excited about that one, but I did hear that it was actually all right. So I didn't see it though. Longlegs, was not a fan of Longlegs. I didn't understand what the big brouhaha about that was. Yeah, I didn't get Longlegs. Sinners, I've heard a lot of good stuff about, but I haven't seen that yet. The Substance is one that I don't understand. I don't get why people lost their shit over that movie, and I get like the effects were cool and kind of the idea of it, but like the whole movie itself just was a tough task for me to get through. Bring Her Back, I think I've heard some good stuff about that, but I haven't seen that. Heretic, I've heard so things about. I think that's the one with Hugh Grant, I think. Nosferatu, wasn't a big fan of that one. That one kind of, I don't know, I didn't even remember much about that movie now, actually, thinking about it. I wasn't a big Nosferatu fan. The Ugly Stepsister, I've never even heard of that one. What do you guys think? What was the best wide release movie this year? Matt says, pretty much just picked Nosferatu through the whole thing until I got to Brandon's doc. All the other films I had either not seen or they sucked. Well, you know my feelings about Nosferatu. I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was definitely better than The Substance. What else was on here? It was better than 28 Years Later. Better than Longlegs. So I mean, sadly, as much as I didn't even like that movie, of all of these that I have seen in the last year, is probably number 2 on my list. Sadly, but this one's pretty easy for me. Best wide release movie is easily Strange Darling. I can't recommend that one enough. That one's a really fun movie, and it's 90 minutes. You're in and out, but it's, yeah, I don't know, easily the best one I've seen all year. Alright, Strange Darling. Best limited release. Oh, Lord. This is one I'm going to need help with. Anybody, I'm going to have to hit that F button, but A, Azrael, never heard of it. C, Freaky Tales, never heard of it. B, Freaky Freako, or Frankie Freako, or whoever the fucking Freako that is. D, Getaway, E, Little Bites, or F, didn't see this. I mean, this is an F. I've never seen or heard of any of these. Have any of you guys seen any of these? Any worth voting for? Liquid Cooler says, watch Let the Right One In last month. I love Let the Right One In. That's a really underrated vampire flick. Yeah, underrated as far as vampire genre goes. I fully agree with that. Yeah, I've heard good things about Sinners, but I've never seen it. I don't know. Maybe I will at some point. Maybe I won't. Who's to say? Which, speaking of coming out, I think this weekend is the new Ari Aster film, Eddington. I will definitely be checking that out this weekend. because I'm a huge Ari Aster fan. Um, Although I can't stand to hear him talk, because he was on some podcast here recently with um, what's the fucking guy's name? John Hader. It's just it's very pretentious filmmaker artiste talk, I guess. Um, yeah, Justin, definitely you definitely need to check out the documentary. Go and vote for it anyway. Just take my word for it. Um, but yeah, it's fantastic. It's free on YouTube right now. So, um, Liquid Cooler says Abigail was okay. I'd like to watch the newest iteration of Nosferatu. Good things so far. A lot of people liked it. I think a lot of my dislike of it came from my love of Werner Herzog's Nosferatu the Vampire and the original from FW Murnau. It just wasn't what I wanted from a Nosferatu Dracula tale, I guess. It's a little too. I don't even know the word for it. They just made Nosferatu seem more like a giant monster, like a wolf man or one of those. It's like they overdid it. I don't know. They lost the simplicity of that character, which was the most interesting aspect of the character to me always. Um, it dehumanized him a little too much, if that makes any sense. Uh, Nothing here. Yeah, so you've never seen any of these either. Matt says Sinners was okay, but it was a little heavy-handed on some things. I don't necessarily mean on topics of commentary, more specifically on plot and storyline. I've heard mostly good about that one, but I have heard that there's you know like you said, it's a little heavy-handed on some things. Um, what's up, Riverman? Like and sub to this man when the dead walk, Senoras. We must stop the killing or lose the war. Appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys coming on the other night. That was a lot of fun. Um, really enjoyed talking to you guys. Anytime you guys want to come back on, you're more than welcome. And like I said, anytime you guys need me, you know where to find me. I was actually just watching you guys before I hopped on here. Um, so yeah, if you guys want to check out Revival House Podcast, check it out at Revival House on YouTube, or just look up Revival House reviews. I think you said was the best way to get a hold of you. Um, but yeah, good to see you, man. So I'm not hearing anything about any of these movies, so we're just gonna skip this because I've never seen or heard of any of these, and then I doubt I will ever see them. To be honest with you. Best streaming premiere. A, best wishes to all. B, cannibal mukbang. What the fuck is that? Sounds like a interesting porno if nothing else. C, Gazer. D, Mr. Crockett. E, there's a zombie outside. Or F, didn't see slash skip. I didn't see any of these either. Anybody seen any of these? Or this might be, we might just be doing the same thing I did the other day. Hey, what's up, Synth? Says, hey there. Almost missed this as I was going to head out. Where are you going? It's a Wednesday, late at night. Are you working tonight, man? If so, be careful out there. It's a bunch of crazy fucking lunatics out there. Let me tell you. But good to see you, man. I don't know if you've seen any of these. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I could just pick one off of the name alone, or I can just be honest and say didn't see, don't care, or skip category, or whatever. I guess there's a zombie outside. I could vote for that since it's obviously a zombie movie. But I like Cannibal Mukbang. I just like that. I like that name. I like the sound of it. I like the ring of it. Fuck it. Cannibal Mukbang. Let's go for it. Best international movie. A, Cuckoo. B, Dangerous Animals. C, Oddity. D, Red Rooms. E, The Ugly Stepsister. F, didn't see, don't care. The only one of these I've heard of is Oddity, and that's because I think you were a big fan of this one. I remember you recommending that one. I still haven't checked it out yet, but I do remember you bringing that up before as a recommendation. So I might just vote for that one and just take your word on it. Since the latest thing I saw was Zium on Netflix, a Siam Thai-based zombie film. Interesting, but not very good. Never heard of it. There's a lot on Netflix I'm pretty ignorant on. Uh, so yeah, I don't really give a shit about this category. I'm just gonna pick oddity because I remember Matt said it was cool. So I trust Matt. Um, Best first feature: A. Best Wishes to All. B. Blink Twice. C. Cannibal Mukbang. D. Mr. Crockett. E. The Ugly Stepsister. F. Don't care. Um, this one, the one of this list that I have seen that I actually thought was really good and really liked, and was kind of surprised that it's not on the best. I guess it may not have been a wide release picture, but Blink Twice is actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting a lot from it. Um, I was kind of just. It was one of those movies where I felt like going to the movies, so I just kind of picked a movie that sounded kind of interesting, and it turned out it was actually really good. It's got Christian Slater is in it, Haley Joel Osment. It's got a pretty fucked up premise too. I don't want to spoil it and give it away because it is kind of a reveal halfway through the movie if you haven't seen it. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed Blink Twice. That would probably be my pick on this one. Um, Matt's saying pick Cannibal Mukbang just because it sounds sleazy. I can imagine it as a trauma film or a porno parody. Yeah, it definitely has a trauma flavor to it, doesn't it? Mukbang is like that's. So that's the shit on like YouTube and stuff where fat people just eat a lot in front of the camera. There's like that's the total draw of it, is just to watch a fat person eat a lot of food or something like that. I think that's what that is. So I mean, it sounds interesting as fuck. Like I might seek that out and watch it now just to see a fat cannibal. That actually sounds kind of interesting. Like if it's a movie about, nah, I'm gonna write that down. I mean, how could I forget the name? But I'll write it down because I'm actually kind of curious to see what the hell that movie is now. Cannibal Mukbang. Because it is kind of an interesting concept. If there was somebody that started a YouTube channel, a cannibal, where all they did was eat people on camera for people. Sounds like a 4chan or a dark web type thing. Um, Not a bad concept if that's what it is. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I'm curious now. I gotta check it out. Um, since says, damn, I didn't see any of these. Mukbang is a great name. Yeah, it is a weird, dirty sounding name, isn't it? Um, Justin saying pick the porn again. I don't even know if it is a porn. Sounds like it should be though. Um, Liquid Cooler says mukbang is just people gorging themselves. Some are fat, some are thin. Surprisingly, okay, well, all right. I was halfway right. Um, but yeah, on this one though, I think I got to go with Blink Twice because I actually really did enjoy that film, and I actually do recommend it to most of you guys out there. I think you might enjoy it. Um, Very surprised over that one. Okay, this one's gonna be interesting because best lead performance: Lily Rose Depp, Nosferatu; Willa Fitzgerald, Strange Darling; Sally Hawkins, Bring Her Back; Michael B. Jordan, Sinners; Micah Monroe, Longlegs. It definitely won't be her. Demi Moore, The Substance; Hunter Schafer, Cuckoo; Leah Myron, The Ugly Stepsister; Naomi Scott, Smile 2; Sophie Thatcher, Companion. Again, of all of these, Willa Fitzgerald and Strange Darling was pretty fantastic. I know Demi Moore didn't she end up winning the Oscar this year for The Substance, which I think was just weird. I didn't get it. I don't know why of all like were movies just that bad this year that The Substance would get nominated for anything on an Academy Award. Like of all the horror movies and all of the thrillers that have been snubbed, the great science fiction films that have been snubbed over the years by the Academy Awards, that all of a sudden they're going to praise and award a film like The Substance. And God bless Demi Moore. I mean, she did a fantastic job in it. She's I have nothing. My issues with the movie have nothing to do with her performance. I'll say that. Um, but I just didn't understand why it got as much love as it did. But Willa Fitzgerald, Strange Darling, she's really, really good in that. Micah Monroe in Longlegs, awful. One of maybe one of my least favorite performances in it. And you know it's amazing. And Maxine came out within the last year, and that was one of the most talked about, like highly anticipated horror films of 2024. Or was it 2025? Was it early 25 or late 24? I can't remember. But um, and we all know how good of an actress Oh, what the fuck's her name? I can't even think of it now. Mia Goth. We all know how good she was in Pearl. Like one of the best performances I've seen in quite some time was her in Pearl. Um, and everybody was so excited and looking forward to Maxine, and you can tell how disappointed everybody was. And I heard a lot of people after the movie came out and they saw it, and they were like, "Oh, it's actually pretty good. I liked it," you know. And I'm just like, "No, it wasn't good. Like, stop. Like, you know that movie sucked." And this is kind of showing, like, you know, because if anybody was going to be nominated for best lead performance in a horror film like that, it would be someone like Mia Goth for Maxine, and the fact that she's not even nominated, I think, speaks volumes. Lily Rose Depp and Nosferatu, she's pretty good. A little too much for me at times, um, but I thought she was pretty good. But I would still go Willa Fitzgerald and Strange Darling. Um, what do you guys? Cinephile, what's going on, man? Cinephile World Order. Good evening, Alpha. Hello, Chad. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Glad you could pop in here for a little bit. Like I said, just kind of hopped on here randomly, just because I wanted to test out this new layout, just to see how I felt about it, and wanted to fill out this ballot. But good to see you, man. Speak of the Revival House, there they are. Hey, got any cigarettes? No, sorry, I don't. Where are you headed? What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Um, Matt says, I haven't seen The Substance yet, but I've heard great things about Demi's performance. Yeah, like I said, my issues with that film have nothing to do with Demi Moore's performance, honestly. Um, it's mostly just the story, the dialogue, the it just I don't know. It just didn't work for me. Um, Liquid Cooler says your thoughts on the VHS series. I don't even know if I've ever seen any of those. Um, Trying to think. I may have seen the first one when it first came out, but I don't remember much about it, so I don't know if that says anything about it or not. Um, the Golden Globe, is that which one? I know she was nominated for the Oscar. I'm pretty sure as well. Um, but hey, you know, good for her, man. Um, Speaking of trauma, just watch Fat Guy Goes Nutsoid from 1986 instead of Mukbang. Okay, all right. I would probably enjoy that more, to be honest with you. That sounds more my speed. More in the Zombie 90 Extreme Pestilence realm, I guess is the word for that. Matt says, I think Lily Rose Depp did a fantastic job. I think I picked her. Yeah, she was good. She was good. Like I said, a little over the top for me at times, where it was just kind of like, okay, yeah. Um, but I think it was just I had my issue with the film overall. Uh, no eyebrows, Mia Goth. I like Mia Goth. I think she's been pretty good in everything she's been, and even in Maxine, didn't like Maxine at all, but she's good in it. So. Um, since his substance is worth a watch over the top in almost every way, but Demi is good, and I was a sucker for the other lead, even though she was augmented. Yeah, I can't remember what her name is, but Demi's performance wasn't an issue for me, but hers kind of was. Like, she kind of got on my fucking nerves. Um, but Matt says, you're the first that I've heard talk about Strange Darling. Need to check it out. Yeah, definitely check it out. Like I said, it's like 90 minutes. It's a small cast. It's but the way that it plays out, I'm not gonna say too much about it, and I don't want to spoil it. But it does have a little twist in the middle that I didn't see coming. So I mean, I don't know, because I didn't know much about it when I saw. I just remember hearing a few people mention it as being a really good film, so decided to check it out. And really enjoyed it. I think you'll dig it. I think you will. Um, I mean, you're not wrong for that, Matt. Just like like I said, I typically don't fuck with modern horror or thrillers. Um, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong for that. Most of the ones that I do, it's because I've heard so many people with opinions that I trust put it over, so I kind of go out of my way to see it sometimes. Or if I'm just bored, like with Blink Twice, and I just want to go to a movie, I'll just kind of pick one and just kind of take a chance. Which works out sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, Strange Darlings. I think you would dig that one. if nothing else. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of modern stuff. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Ari Aster's film coming out this weekend, Eddington. I'm really curious to see what that's going to be like. Um, but yeah, there's not much that I really go out of my way to see anymore. Um, yeah, Cinephile says I enjoyed The Substance, minus Dennis Quaid eating shrimp. I didn't like Dennis Quaid at all in that movie, and I like Dennis Quaid. I just feel like his character was so two dimensional and just so just phony. Like I get what they were trying to go for, but it's just none of the characters had like it's hard for me to care about the humanity of a character when no characters in the film have any semblance of humanity. I don't know, maybe they were going for that and it just kind of went over my head or something, but like there's nothing about that film felt legitimate or felt, you know, based in reality. And so it's hard for me. I think I would have liked that film a whole lot more if it was more gritty, based in reality type of thing. I think it would have worked so much better if it was in the hands of somebody like, which I say like Cronenberg or even Brandon Cronenberg. I think would have done a better job with something like that because he finds a way to take something so like body horror, something so over the top and so ridiculous, like a drug that you can take that will, like the whole premise of The Substance. I feel like that would have been a better film suited for somebody like Brandon Cronenberg, who would ground it more so in reality. So when you're supposed to feel bad or give a shit about this character, it actually works, which it didn't for me. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Since I feel the same about most modern music, derivative and anemic. I don't buy, like, I don't subscribe to that. Like, I hear that all the time. It's like, oh, music's not the same as it used to be. And in certain ways, you're right. But there's a lot of good music out there, a lot of good new bands, a lot of good new musicians. It's just that none of them, you have to seek them out. You have to find them. You have to kind of discover them, and however you discover music. Um, there's a lot of great music out there now of all different types of genres: hip hop, rock, metal, um, electronic, whatever. I find good stuff all the time. It's just it never gets played. It doesn't get any airtime, or it's not. So much music now is just it lives almost exclusively on like SoundCloud or YouTube or Spotify. You're not going to hear anything on the radio or even satellite radio for the most part. Um, but I guess I mean it's probably the same way with movies too. I just don't delve too deeply into a lot of modern stuff, kind of like Matt said. I'm sure there's a lot of great stuff that comes out now that nobody ever sees just because it doesn't get played in theaters and it doesn't get the proper promotion or whatnot. Um, anyway, what the fuck are we doing? All right, best lead performance. Went off on a tangent. You guys know I can go on a tangent. Um, I gotta go with Strange Darling. Second I'd probably go with Lily Rose Depp on that, or Demi Moore. I mean, they were all fine, um, but yeah, of the ones that I've seen, Strange Darling's definitely it. Best supporting performance: Nicolas Cage and Long Legs. Yeesh. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I was so disappointed in Long Legs. Miles Caton from Sinners. I don't know who that is. Ralph Fiennes, 20 Years Later, which I actually did really enjoy his performance in 20 Years Later. Wasn't a big fan of the movie, but I thought he was really, really good in it. Hugh Grant, Heretic. David Johnson, Alien Romulus, which I never saw. Wound Me, Mosaku, Sinners. I'm gonna do it like CK over in David. Unami Mosaku. Uh, uh, Jack O'Connell, Sinners. A lot of Sinners actors in here. Margaret Qualley, The Substance. Oh, I guess that's the girl I was just talking about that I couldn't stand. Dan Stevens, Cuckoo, Bill Skarsgård, Nosferatu, which Skarsgård, maybe he was in it more than I thought, or thinking back on it, but I don't really remember much about his performance. To be honest with you, it was mostly just like, "Arr!" That's what I remember. um, I don't know. You guys got any opinions on this one? Because of all of these, like I'm not blown away by any of them, but of all of them, I would probably go with Ralph Fiennes from 28 Years Later. Um, Unless I'm missing something. Um, you guys think you got opinion? Liquid Cooler says, I was a skateboarder, so punk rock and thrash for me. Yeah, I used to be into like a lot of the, not so much like the 90s West Coast punk rock scene, but more so like the 80s hardcore punk, going all the way back to the CBGB days with the origination of punk, with bands like the Dictators and X-Ray Specs and those types. Um, Justin says Aesop Rock, Death Grips. Death Grips is good. That's one I've actually been listening to a little bit here lately. Um, and Chat Pile are some of my favorites. Yeah, Death Grips is one I kind of discovered here recently. I was like, this is actually pretty fucking interesting. Interesting music. Um, Revival House says, "What up? We're getting so much music that it's hard to weed out the good from the crap. It's tougher and tougher to get stuff that sounds super fresh and innovative for me." Yeah, I mean, you just got to really. I mean, I will agree with you to an extent on this point that it is very a lot of music now is based in the past. It's based in music from previous generations, but I think that's just kind of how most shit is now, whether it's movies, music, whatever. Um, I will agree with that. A lot of it is, I wouldn't say innovative. The Death Grips is one that I think is kind of got a very unique sound. Very, I've noticed a lot lately that a lot of the younger like Deftones is one of those bands that is kind of being rediscovered, and they're playing arenas now. Like I remember a few years ago when I could go see the Deftones down in Nashville at one of the local clubs that held a couple hundred people for cheap. Now they're playing in goddamn Bridgestone Arena, and selling it out. But it's one of those bands that I've noticed because I with my job and stuff, I work at a lot of colleges and am around a lot of people. And I see a lot of Deftones T-shirts, and I hear a lot of younger people talking about Deftones. So that's a band that I think is kind of inspiring a lot of the newer music. Is that kind of generation. Um, Nick Cage gets it. He made that movie. I don't know if I agree with that. Uh, says, well, we dug Long Legs. Well, what left you underwhelmed with it? It's clearly derivative, but I thought it was still fun. I don't know. I just couldn't stand the performance from that one, the Micah Monroe. Couldn't stand her. I didn't feel like her character made a bit of fucking sense. That she's so mentally unwell, but somehow still got a job with the FBI. Which, if the FBI really does hire people that are that fucking unbalanced and odd, then God help us. Um, and Nick Cage is awful in that movie. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I was expecting so much from his performance in that. 'Cause I'm like, oh fuck, Nick Cage is doing a serial killer performance. Then you see him, and it's just like, what is this fucking clown show? What is this makeup? What is this voice? What is this performance? Like, there's like two or three moments in his performance where it's like he teeters on brilliant for a second, where it's like, oh my god, he's doing something awesome here, and then he teeters back into fucking, you know, silliness. And the whole concept of the movie itself, by the end of it, when you find out what's really going on, it's just kind of like, eh. I think the biggest problem was I kept hearing from people that it's like, oh, it's the new Silence of the Lambs, and so I went in thinking like, oh, this is gonna be some great like, you know, Silence of the Lambs style psychological mystery thriller type of film, and it was just not at all. Like, it was just like, what the fuck. Um, I guess I'm in the minority. I feel like I'm in the minority a lot with that film, but I just didn't get it. So Brandon likes Long Legs. Uh, since says I'm just picky, I hear so many reused music tropes and the typical 1 1 4 5 chord progression with mixed BPM for. Well, I get that, man. I get that. Um, but I will say it's important to always like I'm going to see I'm going to a club here in Evansville tomorrow night to see a buddy of mine that I went to school with from like 15 years ago. His band is playing. They're doing a tour and celebrating the 10-year anniversary of their album from back in the day. So they're playing here in Evansville, so I'm gonna go check them out. But I always look forward, like I love doing that, just going to a little bar or club where they're actually playing like live original music with real like bands that are on the road struggling, um, and discovering just great, some great bands and some great music. It's out there. You just gotta be open to it. I think is the problem for a lot of people. But um, not that I'm saying that you're not open to it. I mean, you're definitely in an opinion that I trust when it comes to music. But anyway, good. I got a vote in. Todd got a vote in. I voted for you, Brandon. Keep up the good work, brother. Awesome. Let's keep it going. Like I said, you can vote down there. Fangoria.com/vote. Um, yeah, me too, man. I would love to. I've never even been to New York, but just to see that with all the history and just fucking wild shit that went down there. Um, yeah, that sucks. And I still remember when they closed it, and just like I was like, oh shit. Um, because I mean that wasn't that long ago. The Money Store, it's a jam. Okay, I will. I'll check that out. Right after I watch Cannibal Mukbang, I will check that out. Revival House says we have, for example, we have some amazing death metal out in the last decade, but it's all capturing that '90s death metal sound that was already perfected. Great music, not necessarily new. I don't know. What do you guys say? Are there any like what bands out there are you fans of now that you think are doing something really outside the box and really kind of hasn't been done before, and isn't just kind of a different variation on a band or a sound that came out 10, 20 years ago? Um, is that what it was? The Deftones blew up with TikTok? I believe that. I believe that. Um, it's mind-boggling to see them headline arena. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because, like I said, I forget the name of the club, but I remember just maybe 5 years ago they were playing in Nashville. Um, and it was just at a club like an Exit In or a Muse or something like that. I think it was a little bigger than one of those, but you get tickets for $30 or whatever it was, and that was great. But then like you look now and they're headlining fucking stadiums with the Mars Volta, not stadiums, but or basketball arenas or whatever. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, they're more popular now than I think they were even in the '90s. Because I remember '90s, early 2000s Deftones. They were always kind of like the distant cousin of like Korn and Rage Against the Machine and those types of bands that were always like at the forefront, Limp Bizkit or whatnot. They were always kind of at the forefront, and then it was like Deftones. Because I remember seeing the Deftones back in 2006. Um, Going off on a tangent about Deftones now, but whatever, fuck it. Um, Went to see. I saw the Deftones on the Family Values tour in 2006, and they were co-headlined with Korn, Stone Sour, Flyleaf, Dead Z. I don't know. There were quite a few bands. Um, but they were amazing. But most people there were just kind of like, yeah, let's hurry up. Like they were just kind of didn't give a shit. They were just like, all right, let's get on to Korn. Where's Korn? And when Korn came on, everybody lost their fucking minds. Now I feel like it'd be the opposite. I feel like Deftones would be the headliner. Korn would be, you know, which Korn I guess is still fairly popular, um, but yeah, it was fantastic to see them. And those tickets were like $10 because it's at an amphitheater, and we just got lawn seats. They were $10 a piece. It was great. Is this a common topic on the show? There you go. I mean, it's pretty incredible. It is. Deserved though. They're fantastic. I've always loved Deftones. White Pony is one of my all-time favorite albums, um, front to back. All right, let me throw this vote in here because I'll yeah, I'll tell you what. Since you guys in the chat are all fans of Nicolas Cage and what the fuck, let's give it to him. Nicolas Cage Long Lives, best supporting actor. I'll give it to him. Best director: Danny Boyle, 28 Years Later, Ryan Coogler, Sinners, Robert Eggers, Nosferatu, Coralie Fargiat, The Substance, Osgood Perkins, Long Legs, and see. This was tough for me because I don't wasn't really blown away by the director. I haven't seen Sinners. That's the only one I haven't seen. Um, Best director. Honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the movie itself, but I mean, Robert Eggers is. You can't argue with the way that film looks and the feel of it. And Eggers is just a great director anyway. He's one of the best modern horror directors easily. Um, I would probably go with Robert Eggers on that one. Um, Danny Boyle, I like Danny Boyle. I like some of his stuff, but I was just not a huge fan of that movie. I just felt the movie itself felt uninspired, and if a movie feels uninspired, that usually falls back on a director who's uninspired. Um, yeah, I must be Justin. No, I'm not contrarian. I have I don't know. I have a weird taste. I always have. I always had a weird taste in shit that I'm just like I just don't. And like I said, going back to George, like maybe it's a little bit of the pessimism that I like from George, and just like, what is this shit? Um, since I walked by CBGB's about 2 years after they closed, seeing the Ramones there would have been awesome. But I did see them in San Jose, 1992. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to have gone in. I don't know if how long I would have stayed, but that would have been cool. Um, skip right here. What do you guys think? You guys got a pick on this selection here? Build the Mansion. What's going on, brother? Says George A. Romero's Resident Evil is a great documentary. I fully agree. I really enjoyed it. It was fun to see what never was but could have been. It's awesome to get the meat and potatoes of that story. Yeah, it's one of those great what ifs, and I do those. I do certain streams on here sometimes. It's like Romero's greatest what ifs. Like we did one is like what if O.J. Simpson was cast as Peter in Dawn of the Dead, and I think the last one we did was like what if Night of the Living Dead had stuck with the original title of Night of the Flesh Eaters, like what effects that would have been. George Romero's Resident Evil, like the what if domino effect that would have had if Georgia had actually gotten to make that documentary. Um, I think it's fascinating. And there's so many different conversations you can go off of that, and this documentary does a great job kind of dissecting it and kind of uh, looking at it from it doesn't run off and leave the audience, which is a big thing. It's one of those films that I feel like I could watch um, with somebody who wasn't a huge Romero fan or wasn't a huge Resident Evil fan and still kind of follow the story. They like Brandon does a great job kind of introducing the world, a younger audience or whatnot, or an audience that loves Resident Evil more so than George, kind of introducing them to George first, then introducing Romero fans who may not be huge fans of Resident Evil to the game, and then kind of bringing it all together and showing how it all, kind of came together and then fell apart. I don't know. I just thought it was a fantastic documentary. And like I said, it definitely shed a tear or two at the end of it. So, but good to see you, man. Build the mansion. Hell yeah. Um, Liquid Coast says, yeah, I'm from the West Coast, so I got into that scene. Suicidal tendencies, circle jerks, black flags, but also the 70s punk stuff, the weirdos, flesh eaters. Yeah. Yeah. You big fan of the new Black Flag? Have you guys seen that? That's pretty funny. It's like a bunch of, I don't know, what was it, like a bunch of teenagers or something now? I don't know. Um, yeah, it's a little weird. Chino was never a sex symbol back in the day, but hey, well, hey, good for him. Good for him. Um, Justin said 41 Deftones have been consistent in terms of popularity. I mean, I think for some, like for me, yeah, because I always listen to Deftones. I've always been a fan. I've always bought their new stuff. I've always followed them. But I think for a lot of people from that generation, one, like I said, they were always kind of in the background. Like they were never like the band, um, the way that they probably should have been. But I think now they are kind of the band. They've kind of emerged. I'm trying to think. A lot of bands did that over the years, like Black Sabbath. Like a band like Black Sabbath was pretty much on a mainstream level, pretty irrelevant in the '80s, I think. And then of course the '90s kind of rolls around, and then they kind of have a resurgence. And a lot of bands do that over the years. Like I used to talk about it all the time with Aerosmith, the way that Aerosmith kind of died out, broke up in the '70s, and then kind of had a resurgence in the '80s, and then kind of another resurgence in the '90s. Um, so yeah, Deftones are like our version of Aerosmith, I guess. That's the way I look at it. Um, so new metal's kind of I don't know. It's a funky term for Deftones. I don't. They're more like shoegaze. Um, to me, I always try to describe Deftones to people. I'm like, when you're listening to it, it feels like you're fighting underwater. It's violent, but it's in slow motion, and it's almost like a dance. I don't know. That's the way I feel when I listen to a lot of Deftones stuff. Um, Fighting underwater, I like that. Uh-huh. Let me get back to the vote here. We got Brandon chiming in saying the best directors either Eggers or Coogler. Well, Coogler, like I said, I haven't seen Sinners yet, so I can't really speak on that one. Um, since there's not seen Nosferatu remake, but Eggers is very good. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with Eggers on this one. Even though, like I said, not the biggest fan of the movie, but out of these options, the film definitely looked the best and kind of had the best vibe, in my opinion. The best atmosphere. Um, so yeah, let me throw in. We'll go with Eggers for Nosferatu for our buddy Matt. Best screenplay: Scott Beck, Brian Woods, Heretic, Ryan Coogler, Sinners, Coralie Fargeet, I don't know what the hell that name is, The Substance, Bill Heinzman, hell yeah, and Danny Filippo, Bring Her Back, and JT Mulner, Strange Darling. So I would go with Mulner for Strange Darling because, like I said, that's the best movie that I've seen the past year easily, and it's a great screenplay, great dialogue, the story's fantastic, and the pacing's great, and it moves. But I'm gonna vote for Bill Heinzman because it's I want to see Bill Heinzman. I want to see the name pop up. Best screenplay, Bill Heinzman. In the year of our Lord 2025, I want to see the name Bill Heinzman pop up for best screenplay, for the Fangoria Awards. So that's that's the way I'm voting. Damn it. Best cinematography: Autumn Durald, Arkapaw, Sinners. What are these names? Andreas Arochi, Longlegs, Jaron Blaschke, Nosferatu, Benjamin Krakoon, Substance, Anthony Dodd Mantle, 28 years later. Well, there's no Gornick on this list, so I guess we'll have to settle for number two. I mean, yeah, cinematography wise, honestly, I did the cinematography for 28 years later. They did some pretty interesting stuff, and they shot it all on an iPhone, which is pretty cool. I dig that. Um, I would probably go with 28 years later, old Dodd Mantle there on that one. What do you guys think? Deftone, got top three Deftones records. White Pony, self-titled, Around the Fur. Yeah, can't go wrong with those. I mean, White Pony is front to back, great album. It's my third favorite director, Justin. Like I said, it usually goes back and forth between Argento and Kubrick. Like I said, depending on my mood. Sometimes I'm really into Kubrick, and sometimes I'm really into Argento. But usually it goes back and forth between one of those guys. Um, Justin, that's a good question for Brandon, which I think he answers here. But he says, was Brad Renfro George's first pick for Leon? He was in the commercial. Um, Brandon says, Justin, I don't think George did any of the casting. He was just hired to direct the commercial. There you go. It's a cool pick for the commercial. I mean, Brad Renfro was kind of a name back then. Yeah, yeah, revival. It's like when Faith No More went away for 20 years and then came back and were headlining festivals for the first time. The Tricks to go away for a while. Same thing with the Pixies too, man. That's another band that nobody gave a shit when they were, actually playing. Originally, and then they disappear for 15, 20 years, and then they come back, and all of a sudden they're headlining Bonnaroo and shit. Um, Brandon says Nosferatu has beautiful. It does. It does. I'll give it that. Sin says glad I could drop by while listen while driving. And Heinzman will be funny to win that. I hope it is, man. I want to hear that. And the winner for Best Screenplay for the 2025 Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. Bill Heinzman. I'm like, hell yeah. Fucking Cemetery Zombie. Let's do it. Um, but yeah, yeah, I think I'm gonna go 28 years later on this one because if there's one aspect about that film that I thought was pretty good was some of the movements of the camera, some of the way that they shot some of the stuff. That's the one that kind of stands out the most for me out of this list. Nosferatu looked great, but it's yeah. I'm gonna go with 28 years later on this one. This one's gonna be hard because I've seen these, but I don't remember a goddamn thing about any of these scores. Robin Carol Ann, Nosferatu, Rafferty, The Substance, Young Fathers, 28 Years Later, Ludwig Göransson, Sinners, Ziegler, Longlegs. None of these names kind of have the ring that a like a Goblin would have, or John Carpenter, Jerry Goldsmith. I don't know why Jerry Goldsmith came to mind, but um, I don't know, man. Like I've seen a lot, all these. None of the scores really stand out, other than the 28 Years Later one, but just because it was so annoying in parts. Um, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on this category. Anybody want to throw their 2 cents in? I'll let you guys choose this one if you happen to remember the scores to any of these films. Um, Brandon says Brad was picked because he has a massive popularity in Japan. Oh, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Brad Renfro is huge. He's kind of like the David Hasselhoff of Germany. Is that what it was? Um, Justin saying Kubrick is a great pick. Yeah, yeah. I love Kubrick. And it's funny because as much as I love George, like to also appreciate Kubrick stuff, like they're just completely different types of directors. Like Kubrick is such a control freak and every little detail, and let's do 200 takes, whereas George could never get past 3 without just getting bored and wanting to move on and shoot something else. He's like, yeah, whatever. So two completely like diametrically opposed style of director, but love them both. Sin says the Matrix style 360 shots in 28 weeks were lame, though. I love using iPhones, but use a real camera if you have damn budget. Well, yeah, I mean it was kind of a gimmick. I'll give you that. Actually, you made me change my mind. I'll go to Nosferatu. What the fuck? Because yeah, I don't know. I like some of this. Like some of the 360 stuff looked all right for me. I mean, it was something different to fucking look at for once. But yeah, the gimmicky aspect of them, fuck that. Yeah, use a camera. Like I get it. I get why they used the digital cameras in the original 28 Days Later to kind of give it a realistic vibe, I guess, or give it a different feel. But yeah, they definitely had the budget to grab something better than a fucking iPhone. Um, Still look pretty good though, I gotta say. Okay, Brandon saying Sinners had a great score. Okay. Anybody have any? Cause I'm just gonna give this one then, if unless anybody has any objections. Um, Justin says, "Are you a fan of Full Metal Jacket? It's my dad's favorite war film. He was a Marine and said the first half was super accurate. It's funny. I love Full Metal Jacket, and I'm a fan of the whole movie. I hear people all the time. They're like, "Oh, the first half's great and the second half is shit, or not shit, but it's just not as good." And I disagree with that. I think the second half is just as good as the first. I think it's almost like two different movies in one. It's so different. But I love Full Metal Jacket. That's one of my all-time favorite war films. I grew up always a huge, not fan, but I always had an interest in the Vietnam War for some reason. Like I had uncles and family members and stuff that served over in Vietnam, so I always used to grow up hearing stories and hearing them talk about it. Um, and my uncle actually said, uh, who was over in Vietnam, said that the two most realistic portrayals of Vietnam that he ever saw were one, Full Metal Jacket, Like you said, the boot camp stuff. He was like, that's exactly what it is. Like that's exactly how it is. Um, Full Metal Jacket and Platoon. Actually, he said Platoon was pretty. So I don't know, but yeah, Full Metal Jacket. Love Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, yeah. Which you're actually, yeah, you would know, Brandon. You're former military, my man. Um, love Kubrick. Yeah, I've never heard anybody say like, "Oh, I hate Kubrick." Like, fuck Kubrick. Well, he made a bunch of shit. Never heard anybody like. That's the thing with Kubrick is like his films. There's an argument to be made that he made the best film in every genre, mostly every genre. You could make the argument he made the greatest horror film ever made with The Shining. You could make the argument he made the greatest science fiction film ever made with 2001 or Clockwork Orange, however you want to categorize that. The best war film ever made, whether it's which he made a few of them actually that are all greatly praised. Um, but honestly, I love all those films, but man, Eyes Wide Shut to me is one of those films that grows on me like a fungus. I watch it at least once a year, and every time I watch it, I like it more and more and more. I don't know. It's one of those movies that I always heard people were always just like, because when I first started getting into Kubrick's films, everybody was like, "Oh, fuck Eyes Wide Shut." Nobody wants to. Don't even bother. It was the same thing that people used to tell me about Halloween 3. It's like, don't even bother. That movie's so long and boring. Like, ugh. So when I finally said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna watch it," because I've seen everything else. Like, I've finally sat down and watched Eyes Wide Shut, and it was just like, from the first time I watched it, I was like, "Wow, this is actually not bad." Like, it's weird and it's slow, but it kind of has a feel to it that it was hard to explain. It gave me a feeling that I couldn't quite put my finger on. I like it. Just kind of, I don't know. So that may be my favorite Kubrick film, but that's really hard to say. I love. Uh, Clockwork Orange was my favorite. That was my real introduction to Kubrick was Clockwork Orange. And when I was a teenager, I was like, wow, this is unreal. Yeah, that's right, Justin. Kubrick was a great photographer before he got into film. That's right. Great artist in general. But back to this ballot, I guess. Revival House says Sinners did have the best score. Okay, so we'll roll with it. I'll give it to Sinners. I don't think I voted for Sinners or for anything yet, so we'll roll with it. We still got quite a few of these to go through. So let's knock out a few of these real quick. Best costume design. Ruth E. Carter, Sinners. Linda Muir, Nosferatu. Marianne CEO, Maxine. Man in Rasputin, The Ugly Stepsister. Emmanuel Yachnovsky. Substance. I didn't like Maxine, but they did kind of get the look of the 80s down in that movie, I thought. Like, I didn't like the movie at all, but I did appreciate the look of it. To me, I kind of described it as like Ty West's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but for the 80s. Um, so yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna vote for Maxine on that one just because I like the way it looked. What the hell? It's costume design. Who gives a shit? Best makeup effects. So this will be interesting. Felix Fox, Harlow McFarlane, Werner Pretorius Longlegs, Christian Tinsley, Terrifier 3, Pierre Olivier Person, Stephanie Goulion, The Substance, John Nolan, 28 Years Later, David White, Tracy Elder, Nosferatu. Best makeup effects. I don't think if there's anything that really stood out in a lot of these. I guess you could vote for John Nolan 20 years later for that giant dick. I think for makeup effects, I think the Substance, it's kind of hard to argue with Substance. I mean, just in terms of body horror and the shit they had to do on that one. So I'll give the Substance a vote on that one. I can't argue that the practical effects in the Substance are pretty much the whole sole reason to watch that movie. In my opinion. Best creature effects: Paul McDonnell, Oddity, Jeremy Sellenfriend, Studio Gillis, Smile 2, Studio Gillis Werewolves, Pierre Olivier Person, The Substance, Legacy Effects, Studio Gillis, Weta Workshop, Alien Romulus. I creature effects. Fuck it. Let's give it to the substance again. Why not? Okay, here we go. Best documentary feature: Doc of Chucky. We got George A. Romero's Resident Evil, In Search of Darkness, 1994. Oh boy. J Horror Virus and Susanna, the Queen of Black Magic. So I've seen two on this list actually. I've seen, of course, George A. Romero's Resident Evil. Also seen Doc of Chucky because my 4-year-old is a huge Chucky fan, and she even likes to watch fucking documentaries about the shit. It's weird. Like I walked in one day and she's sitting there she's laying in bed watching it wasn't Doc of Chucky, it was another documentary that they did of the Child's Play franchise. I can't remember what it's called. Living with Chucky, I think is the name of it. And she was just zoned in on it. I'm like, you're weird. So I have seen Doc of Chucky. In Search of Darkness, I mean, aren't those, is it really a documentary? Aren't those mostly just like, here's what, in 1990, this horror movie came out, and then it's like four people that pop up that you've never heard of saying like, oh yeah, I remember when that movie came out. Boy, that movie was scary. And then another person comes in and they're like, oh yeah, I'll never forget that movie. And then another person comes in and is like, oh, it kind of reminds me of that one movie. And then there's another person comes in and it's like, oh man, I'm a good person, but there's a lot of stuff in that movie that I don't, never understood those collections. It's just like, here's a movie, and then here's some people that you never heard of talking about it for 3 minutes, and here's another movie and more. It just, I don't know. Doesn't do it for me. So yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one. I don't know which one to vote for here. Yeah, like I said, I've only seen these two, Doc of Chucky, George A. Romero's Resident Evil, but that's what we're here for, folks. And like I said, this is my ballot. This is my second ballot, actually. But you can go, link down below. You still have a couple of days until Sunday, July the 20th, to vote, to put in your vote. Make your voice heard. Because voting kicks ass, and if voting kicks ass, you got some kick-ass shit. What was that scene? I was thinking about that today when I was thinking about doing this ballot. Black Sheep, when he's on stage, and he's just like, you gotta fight for your right to vote. Kill Whitey. Anyway, not a great Chris Farley movie, but Chris Farley's great in any fucking thing. So, but yeah, my daughter's gonna be mad if that I don't vote for Chucky on this one, but it's gotta be George A. Romero's Resident Evil. And I thank you very much, Mr. Salisbury. I will appreciate it. Missed a few here. Let me go back. Oh shit. Okay, I see here. Brandon, for all the production budget The Shining had, George's Dawn of the Dead made more money. That's true. The Shining was kind of a flop when it came out originally because it opened the same weekend as Friday the 13th, and Friday the 13th beat the living shit out of it at the box office. Which is crazy to think about now in hindsight, but it's true. There we go. Some Eyes Wide Shut love. Eyes Wide Shut's awesome. Yes, it is, sir. Brandon says, I always like comparing George to other directors at different points for all the problems and mistakes Don has. It shows the skill George has to ignore them while you watch. Or when watching, it absorbs you. Yeah, that's true. But I think, like, that's talking about punk rock and stuff earlier. Like, I look at Dawn of the Dead as one of the most punk rock movies ever made because you see all the little flaws and stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like, when you listen to an old, Sex Pistols album or Ramones or any of those, it's like, even if it's not played perfectly or technically sound or whatever, like, who gives a shit? Like, it makes you feel something. It makes you want to pick up a guitar and play. That's kind of how I felt about Dawn of the Dead and Romero when I first saw that movie. It kind of makes you want to pick up a camera and make a movie, which you would know better than anybody, Brandon. That's how I felt when I heard Nirvana for the first time. Like Nirvana wasn't. You see Nirvana live, it's riddled with mistakes and Kurt's off key, and God knows what the hell's gonna happen. But it's one of those things where it's like a perfect example. The Unplugged, Nirvana Unplugged album from '93, or was it '94? It was already '94. because he died not too long after that. But it's one of those. It's like the concert itself is kind of a mess. Like Kurt forgets some lyrics. Like some of the shit's off. Like it's a very discombobulated performance, but at the same time, it's one of the greatest performances of all time because like that is what that performance inspired me to pick up a guitar and want to learn how to play guitar. Was seeing Kurt Cobain and the Unplugged set. Same way I feel about George is when I see Martin, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead especially. It's one of those where it's just like, oh shit, I could get a group of friends together and we could, make a movie at a house and somehow make it, it inspires you. It's like, oh, I can do this. Whereas like growing up, if when I see like fucking Willy Wonka or Star Wars or Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever, like those are just like, oh, that's another world. Like I could never do that. I have to, go to school for that, and I gotta, that's impossible. But picking up a camera and doing it yourself, like that's fucking do it. It's like Kevin Smith always says, just fucking do it. Pick up a camera and do it. Quit talking about it. Yeah, I agree. Maxine sucked. It was very disappointing. Very disappointing. Um, yeah, yeah. I think, yeah. Justin even. Yeah, I think most people were. I think it was one of those movies that everybody was so excited about, and then after everybody saw it, it was like on people. It almost felt like people were too afraid to actually be truthful and say how bad that movie was and how shitty Kevin's Bacon was in that movie. That's the one thing that kind of just really threw me for a loop was Kevin Bacon in that fucking movie. Jesus, and that weird Louisiana quote unquote accent. Um, but yeah, I think as time is kind of gone on, I think everybody's kind of on the same page now, where they're just like, yeah, that movie wasn't what we were hoping. Yeah, yeah, I agree, and always ahead of his time. It seemed like I said, you go back and you watch, Dawn, Crazies, even go like even not that long ago to Diary of the Dead. I talked about Diary of the Dead. It's like at the time, like I remember thinking like, oh, this movie's kind of stupid because nobody, if this was really happening, nobody would just be sitting there filming it with a camera. They'd be trying to help, and like, here we are a few years later, where everybody's got a camera in their pocket, and first time you see any kind of chaos or destruction or anything horrible going on, what most people's first instinct is like, hey, let me pull out the phone and grab a quick picture or video of it. And I'm like, oh shit, like, all right, quick, I gotta upload this to my Instagram. Yeah, George saw that coming. Um, since says best prosthetic John Holmes effects for 20 weeks later. Yeah, it really was. I was convinced. I'll say that. Um, oh hell yeah. So give me some Black Sheep love in here. Hell yeah. Oh wow, yeah. Justin saying Black Sheep is underrated. I agree. I agree. See, that's what I always heard since. Like, Eyes Wide Shut pissed off my ex girlfriend's mom in the theater, so it gets even more points. I always heard like people were just like, and I don't know why, but it would just seem like this concerned concerted effort to just shit on that movie when it came out, where everybody was just like, fuck. Like I remember listening like when I was watching like WWF Raw back in the day. I remember hearing Jerry Lawler on commentary just out of nowhere, just talk about how shitty Eyes Wide Shut was. I was just like, man, all right, it was weird. Alice in Chains Unplugged's better than Nirvana. I mean, I don't know. Depends on your tastes, I guess. I always liked Alice in Chains. I was never just like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over him. You know what I mean? Um, Lane, yeah, I mean Lane Staley was a great singer, but I also think like you got to give Jerry Cantrell a lot of credit too for the harmonizing aspect of it too, because I like a lot of Jerry Cantrell's solo stuff as well. And when you hear him sing, you hear a lot of Alice in Chains. So it's kind of like all right, but yeah, you can't deny Lane Staley. Um, since I should do a video on that trilogy, which trilogy? I forget the fuck I was talking about. Um, I don't know. Refresh me. Steven, what's going on, man? This is Howdy Camper Sarmley. No worries, man. Like I said, I just jumped on here just on the spur of the moment tonight because I was about to sit down and start doing the ballot so I could vote for Brandon's documentary again. And I was like, fuck it, let's do a live stream. I wanted to test out this new little format here that I got with the comments down here in the corner, and just wanted to kind of do a quick little run through test to see how I feel about it. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna hop on here tonight and just hang out. I planned to hang out for like an hour, but here we are, an hour and a half in, and we're still going. So, which usually seems to be the way things go around here. Um, Rick, the North Going Llama, what's going on, brother? Hello, all goose evening, my man. Good, we gotcha. Always good to see you, Rick. Brandon says that's what I mean about George's films. When you watch them, you never notice the mistakes. At least for me, I always have to have them pointed out because you get so absorbed into the film. Yeah, I agree. Um, Steven said I'd vote for Svengoolie. I think the category we're on now, best nonfiction series or miniseries. Let's see, I don't even know what this is. The Boulay Brothers, Dragula, Horror's Greatest, The Last Drive with Joe Bob Briggs, and Svengoolie. So you would vote for Svengoolie, Steven. I'm a fan of Joe Bob. I haven't watched a lot of the new like Last Drive-In stuff for some reason. It really just depends on the movie that he's watching. But that would probably be my pick because I'm not too familiar with Svengoolie. We don't get that around here for the most part. But I'll vote for I'll vote for Svengoolie. He does a lot for one of my favorite podcasts, the Tell 'em Steve Dave. He does a lot with those guys, and he seems like he's fun and kind of down for a good time. So what the hell? Excuse me. So yeah, I'll go. I'll shoot Svengoolie a vote there. Best series. Oh, I've never seen any of these. Creep Tapes, From, The Last of Us, Squid Game, Yellow Jackets. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of TV series, guys. I did see the first season of Squid Game. That was pretty fun. I haven't seen anything since then. Um, Last of Us, I started to watch the first season, didn't care much for it, to be honest with you. And the others I've never seen. So I guess out of all of these, I would probably go Squid Game just because I like the first season. But that would be it. Um, what do you guys think? Are you guys fans of any of these shows? I'm sure you guys watch a little bit more TV or whatever the hell you want to call it now than I do. Okay, so you were talking about the Ty West ex Pearl Maxine. Yeah, I'll happily get into it. At some point. Needless to say, I liked X, didn't love it, loved Pearl when I didn't expect to love it, but I ended up loving it. And Maxine, I wanted to love, but it was just a big mess for me. But I could probably go a little deeper on it some other time. That's not a bad idea. I thought it had the potential to be one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Like if Ty West, it's kind of like what Tarantino talks about, the Man with No Name trilogy with Clint Eastwood. It's like going from Fistful of Dollars to for a few dollars more to The Good and Bad and the Ugly is the perfect trilogy because the movies got better and better as they went, and it all kind of culminated in this great finale. I felt like Ty West had the opportunity to do something like that with that trilogy, and I felt like Maxine just fell flat on its fucking face. Um, Okay, Big Alice in Chains guy. I gotcha. Cantrell's an icon. Yeah, I've always liked a lot of Cantrell solo stuff. I've always liked Alice in Chains, but if I had to go looking at like Nirvana you know, was my pick out of the Seattle bands. I fucking can't stand Pearl Jam. That's the only one. Like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, the Big Four, I guess. Nirvana would be number one. I'd probably go Soundgarden too, honestly. But Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, they're interchangeable for me sometimes. And then Pearl Jam, I've just never understood Pearl Jam. Um, Steven says, I thought Maxine was watchable. I did enjoy the attempt to bring back 1980s LA in the film. It definitely had the era's B movie vibe to it. Yeah, it's like I said earlier. I don't know if you were in here yet, but I said to me, That was the one thing I had to give it to Ty West for, was that he did a great job recreating the 80s environment. And to me, it kind of felt like his version of Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he kind of wanted to recreate 80s Hollywood. I thought he did a really good job at that. Um, Brent said this will be a normal 3 hour show. I hope not. I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I got a busy day today, or busy day tomorrow, or today. I don't even know what fucking time it is. It may be, yeah, East Coast. Yeah, well, here I still got about 20 something minutes before it's technically Thursday, but what the hell. Um, and Steven says, I still watch him every Saturday I can. Sven Gulli, very cool. Um, yeah, he does like Me TV, I think. Shows a lot of old horror stuff. Um, let's see. So what are we talking about here? Best series, all right. Um, Synth says Lifetime Joe Bob fan. He had some fun opera movie facts on a fairly recent show. Yeah, I remember. I need to check that out because I saw he was showing opera here recently. Um, yeah, I'm a Joe Bob fan. Rick says there's a host in Reno, Nevada, Zombo's House of Horror movie, been on for like 20, 25 years, lots of camp. Yeah, there's like different horror hosts all over the country. There's like Sven Gulli. What was the one that was up in the Northeast? I remember hearing Stern talk about all the time. Zachary was that one that I remember? Zachary. Um, I don't remember us ever really having anything like that down south or wherever the hell you want to categorize Kentucky. Um, yeah, I don't think we ever had anything like that on like a local station or anything. Rick says, recently watched Squid Game, liked it, but damn bloody violent. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I've only seen the first season, and I remember it being enjoyable. I had a good time watching it. So, um, Revival House says, I agree with your opinion. I'm just gonna start calling you Aaron because I think that's who this is. Aaron says, I agree with your opinion on the Ty West trilogy. X was okay, Pearl was incredible, Maxine went out with a whimper. Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Oh, was he? Well, I don't mean to offend offend you, Todd, but yeah, I never. My favorite. I don't even know if I'd say favorite Pearl. Like Pearl Jam has a couple of songs that I like. Oh where can my baby be? And Vedder started that whole goddamn way that everybody sang in the late '90s. That hurl, that butt rock sound, that hurl, baby, hurl. That was we got Vedder to blame for that. So yeah, I don't know. I've just never been a big Pearl Jam guy. Sorry, Todd. Um, Dave Matthews. Okay, now that's a band I've never understood. It's Dave Matthews Band. I dated a girl one time. Keyword one time. Dated a girl one time. And we went on a couple dates, and then she told me her favorite band was Dave Matthews Band. I never forgave her for that. We never went out again. Kind of feel bad for that, but I was like, oh no. It's kind of like when somebody tells you they're a huge Grateful Dead fan. I'm just like, I don't know if we're gonna vibe. Just not my thing. Just not my thing. Um, Marathon show, Justin? No, I don't think so. That's right. I gotta get up. I gotta get up early in the morning and drive my creepy white van around college campuses for a few hours. So, uh, all right, all right. Enough about Dave Matthews and fucking Pearl Jam. I'll vote for Squid Game since nobody else has an opinion on that one. Best video game. Now I really don't have a goddamn clue about this one because I stopped playing video games years ago. Other than just like every now and then Madden or something like that. But Death Stranding 2, Mouthwashing. Okay, Silent Hill 2 remake, Slitterhead. Sorry we're closed. Didn't play skip category. Any gamers in here know anything about any of these games? Because if not, I might just hit F to move on. We got 3 more categories left, and we can submit this sucker. I didn't think it'd take this long, but what the hell? But any gamers? First answer. That's what I'm gonna go with. Silent Hill 2 remake, just Justin. Fuck it. I'll agree with you. I like the original Silent Hill games, but that was back when people saw in black and white, back in my day. So I'll go with it. What Steven says, Dave Matthews Band, every guy's favorite band, but only when they were trying to score. I gave up. I didn't even bother. I was just like, eh. I figured if she was a huge Dave Matthews fan, she was probably a little bushy. I was not not down for that at the time. Um, okay, so we got another vote for Silent Hill 2. Okay, all right. I think we're good on that one. Best public domain resurrection. What the fuck does that mean? Oh god, it's these: Popeye's Revenge, The Mousetrap, Scream Boat, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, Popeye the Slayer Man, Shiver Me Timbers. Does anybody want to go to bat for any of these movies? Obviously, I didn't watch any of these. Um, so this would be a skip for me, but if anybody wants to go to bat for any of these, I will take your word for it. Um, there you go. Justin just says, fuck it. G, move on. I agree with you. I agree with you. Let's move on. Oh, okay. Last category, best kill. Interesting. So I'll have to think about this one. You guys want to throw in some of your favorite kills of the last year or so in horror films? Trying to think. So let me try. I'm trying to think of some of the kills. Honestly, the one of the best ones that I can remember. I don't know if it would be technically a kill or not, but um, I did like the ending of Nosferatu when the sun comes up and you see him start to turn to ash or whatever the fuck. Um, I don't know if that'd be a kill or not. It's just kind of whatever. Um, great kill that I've seen in the last year. Like I've talked to death about Strange Darling. I love that movie, but I don't remember any great kills in that movie. It's mostly, yeah, yeah, no, nothing great comes to mind for that one. What do you guys think? Am I missing something? Something obvious? Brian says I'm actually excited for the Silent Hill 1 remake. They're remaking Silent Hill. Well, didn't they? Why is there a remake of Silent Hill 2 if they're just now getting to doing a Silent Hill 1 remake? It makes no sense. Um, I don't know. I haven't played video games in quite a while. I think once I don't know if I just aged out of it or once I had a kid, like I just didn't have the time to really dedicate to it. Like something like Madden or something. It's like, okay, I can get through a game of Madden in 45 minutes to an hour and then that'll be that. And I can put it away and move on to something else. Or I'm just kind of, I don't know. I just don't really feel like sinking the time into a video game like that um, these days. Quite the way I used to. Back in the day, man, like Resident Evil or anything like that, I could sit and just play those damn games for hours and hours and hours, days at a time. Um, Steven says the trailer on Screamboat looked interesting. I don't even remember what Screamboat is. Is that the one with like Mickey Mouse? Or supposed to be Mickey Mouse or whatever the hell they have to call him legally? Yeah, it's a weird category. I'm just saying, fuck it. I'm moving on. Johnny, what's up, brother? Hello, your love. Just woke up. Well, good morning, sir. Good morning. Have a cup of coffee and enjoy this early morning Alpha Romero stream. Like I said, yeah, I just hopped on here randomly tonight. I was like, I'm gonna fill out this ballot again, so I'm gonna let's do it. Let's do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Um, but good to see you, man. Glad you're able to catch me live. Hope you have a good day. I'm about to go to bed soon, so I'll start mine later. There you go. Synth with a good idea. Popeye spinach mukbang horror. I'm sure that's coming somewhere. I'm sure it's coming somewhere. Um, Justin said it happens with age. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I still know people my age that love games and stuff and play all the time, but I don't know. Just kind of. I used to be way into it back in the day, but revival. Aaron says I love games. It's unfortunately not the same as having time to actually play them as much. Yeah, I used to love like I used to love to get invested in a game. Like if it was especially the what are they fucking called? The games that are the Telltale games where it's basically you're playing through a story and you're just making decisions for characters and your decisions change the direction of the story stuff. I used to love fucking shit like I'd play those over and over again just to see like what different shit can happen depending on different decisions you make. Um, but yeah, just anymore. It's just like my buddy gave me that Death Stranding and the first one. He was like, "Hey, you try this, you might like it." And I just never even got around to playing it. I was just like, I don't know. Didn't even want to get into it. Okay, so it is the Mickey Mouse. Okay, Mickey pissed and he's kicking ass. Okay. Yeah, I missed that one somehow. I somehow missed that one. Chance, what's up, brother? Chance 2D in the house. Late night on a Thursday. Or, yeah, well, Wednesday. 12 minutes to a Thursday here, but I'm sure Thursday for some of y'all on the East Coast. Retro games? Yeah. I, I probably haven't. I love arcades. I love going to fucking arcades. I love pinball. That's what I'm kind of into now. I love going to an arcade and sinking some quarters into a pinball machine for an hour or so. Just I love the focus that it takes and just the hand-eye coordination, I guess, with the I don't know. I'm a pinball guy now. There you go, Johnny. Firstly, coffee now and cigarettes. Absolutely, gotta have your coffee and cigarettes. Says, oh, okay, you're filling a finger. Yeah. I've already done one. Like I said earlier, I've already done one ballot, and but I just kind of skipped through it to get to the best documentary. Which, for those of you guys just joining, put the link down in the description below if you want to go fill out your ballot and submit it. But Brandon Salisbury's documentary, George A. Romero's Resident Evil, is up for best documentary of this year. So everybody go show some love to Brandon and his documentary, and let's get George. Let's get George's name out there again for another Fangoria award, by God. Um, but yeah, so I thought I'd come on here, test out this new little layout that I'm playing with, just trying some new things here on StreamYard. And I said, hey, let's fill out the ballot with everybody's help. See what the hell happens. Um, what's going on? My Lunatique99, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Um, all right. So any good kills? Anybody got any good kills from the movies from the past year? I can't. I might go like Terrifier 3. I mean, when I think of kills, I mean that's pretty much what that movie is. It all boils down to who had the best kills, and the one that sticks out is the chainsaw up the ass kill. So I'm gonna put this in here. If anybody has any other ones that they want to throw out in case I'm forgetting something. Chainsaw up the ass. Terrifier 3. And Terrifier 3 has a reference to Coven and my boy Mark Borchardt, one of my favorite directors. Um, as well as a cameo from Tom Savini and Marty Schiff. If you look close enough in the background, you can see Marty Schiff walking by behind Savini during Savini's cameo. So, I'll show a little love to Terrifier 3, unless anybody has anything better that they want to throw out there that I'm just forgetting about. Um, there you go, Steven. Vote for Brandon and George and Spin There you go. Yeah, that's another documentary just came out, directed by Mike Ankus, who worked with George and was a part of Day of the Dead, Chasing Zombies. Larry, our buddy Larry, is one of the producers on that sucker. He sent me one, so I got to see a Blu-ray copy of that here recently. Fun documentary. It's got some really good stories in it from Jeannie Jeffries and Michael Tommaso, Bob Michelucci. And some interviews with some different fans, some footage from Living Dead Weekend. It's a really fun documentary, some really great stories. And Larry makes a very special cameo in it as well, so keep an eye out for our boy Larry in that one. But yeah, definitely recommend that one as well for everybody if that hasn't seen it. It's Chasing Zombies. Let me go back to Chintz. Chintz says, you just said you hated Pearl Jam. They were my first band I seen live back in 1990 when they opened up for Linda Ronstadt at the Hollywood Bowl. That's hilarious. Pearl Jam opened for Linda Ronstadt at the. That's crazy. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I would love to see. Like, I'm not a big fan, but I would have loved to have seen Pearl Jam in 1990. Like, that would be great. Not so much now, but you know what the hell. Uh, let's see. Aaron says, "Catch you guys later. Gotta hit the hey. Good night, my man. Sleep well. Get your rest while you can. I know you got a little one on the way, and you're like I said earlier, man. Welcome to the Girl Dad Club. Get ready. Prepare yourself as best as you can, but there's nothing that will prepare you for it. So I wish you all the luck and all the best, my man. But have a good night, my man. Um, uh, Coffee and Cigarettes is a fun Jarmusch movie. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. I haven't seen it in a long time. Isn't that the one? Is that the one? Tom Waits. I think Iggy Pop is in that one as well. Yeah, I remember watching that back when it came out. It's been a long time though since I've gone back and watched that one again. Um, it's okay. Justin's cool with it, so that's a good choice. Chainsaw up the ass. Terrifier 3 works for me. That's a very gory and painful death. I think it works. Um, so yeah, well let's do it. And no, I am not a robot, no matter what anybody says. Chainsaw up the ass, Terrifier 3, hit submit, and there we go. Our ballot for the 2025 Chainsaw Awards, Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, is now submitted, and Brandon's got another vote. So let's hope, fingers crossed. I really want Brandon to win this award. He deserves it. And like I said, I hadn't seen any other documentaries, but hey, it's a fucking Romero documentary in 2025. I'm gonna vote for it. That's, nothing's gonna stop me. So there we go. All right, here I am again, big and live and in color. Go ahead and stop that. So yeah, like I said, go submit your ballots, guys. You got until Sunday, July the 20th, to submit your Chainsaw Award ballot. I put a link down in the description below. It's fangoria.com/vote. You can go make your voice heard, help our boy Brandon out, and yeah, let's make it happen. Chin says, yeah, my aunt got tickets to see Linda Ronstadt and Pearl Jam was the opening act. This was before the album 10 was released, and no one knew who they were, and my aunt said they were too loud. Yeah, for a Linda Ronstadt, yeah, concert. For a Linda Ronstadt crowd, I don't know if Pearl Jam was the right choice, but, yes, absolutely, everybody. Vote for Brandon. It's like vote for Pedro, vote for Brandon. There we go. Appreciate it, my man. Appreciate it. Good to see you in here. Steven says, I'll vote tonight if I don't fall asleep. Hey, go vote right now. You're awake right now. Go do it, my man. Well, like I said, you have until Sunday to go and submit your vote. But yeah, I just think it'd be so cool. A, to see Brandon win Best Documentary, and B, it would be awesome. So everybody go vote for Bill Heinzman. It's not, not the good Bill Heinzman, but Bill Heinzman is nominated for Best Screenplay as well. I forget what the fucking movie was that he's nominated for, but I just want to see Bill Heinzman win an award in 2025. Damn it. But yeah, all right. So I'm almost at 2 hours. I was planning on going like one, but hey, you know what? You know how it goes. So I think 2 hours works good for me. I got to get my ass to bed, but appreciate you guys hopping in the chat. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribe if you're new, and make sure you go vote. Fangoria.com/vote. And yeah, so appreciate you guys. Good seeing you. Like I said, we're doing another stream this weekend. I'm thinking I might do top 10 favorite non-Romero horror films ever, just to get that out there. But then I also realized I've never even done a top 10 Romero film countdown, which you guys probably know, like the top 2 or 3. But yeah, we'll see. I'll be back doing something, by God. But good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Brandon says, I do appreciate everyone voting for the documentary. It really does mean a lot. I really want to win this thing, partially for my father. Absolutely. Well, let's make it happen, guys. Let's do it. Because Because I mean, like I said, fucking a lot of those other documentaries, like another Chucky documentary. There's other Chucky documentaries out there, like I mentioned earlier. You know, there's Living with Chucky. My daughter's there's multiple. We know about Chucky. Okay, Search for Darkness, 1990 through 94, like one of the worst periods in horror film history, 90 through 94, and give me a break. The other two I haven't seen, and probably for good reason. Fuck all the others. Go vote for George A. Romero's Resident Evil. By God. Um, but yeah, let's make it happen. Johnny saw. Let's see. Johnny says I saw Jane's Addiction in 1990, a small club in Edinburgh, just after Ritual LP was. That's awesome. That would have been a fun band to see back in the day too. Jane's Addiction for sure. Steven, good night, my man. Always good to see you. So it says, is this also mentioned in the latest Fangoria issue? I've not read it yet. I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't picked up an actual Fangoria magazine in years. But see you, my man. Have a good rest of the night. Stay safe out there. I don't know if you're working, driving around. Justin, always good to see you, my man. My little late, but hey, what the hell? You made it. You made it just in time for the big grand finale. So, but always good to see you. I know, Chance. I know you just got here, my man. But like I said, I'll be back doing something else this weekend, so keep an eye out for another stream full of fun and frivolity here on the Alpha Romero channel. And again, another thing, go check out Matt's. Matt just dropped a new video from Day of the Dead locations in Fort Myers. He was just there at Drone of the Dead. I'm gonna try to share that video on my community. Like I said, I tried to share it earlier and it wasn't processing, so I'll figure out something. But definitely go check it out. Really, really awesome footage and a lot of stuff that I don't know if I've ever seen anybody get in terms of location footage wise. A lot of aerial stuff. So go check it out at Drone of the Dead. And yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Yeah, top 10 anything sounds fun. I like doing lists. I've always liked just coming up with lists just for my own exercise, but you know. Yes, sir, Rick. Absolutely. Romero all the way. Rick saying, have a good evening, all. Have a good evening, Rick. But yeah, I'm out of here. I will see you guys this weekend. Have a good rest of the week. But until then, stay safe, stay prepared, but always stay scared.